LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art antenna tuners for every amateur need. An LDG desktop tuner works automatically with nearly any station and up to 1,000 watts. LDG power tuners are ideal for portable and mobile use as they consume almost no current and can be powered by internal batteries that last up to a year. LDG tuners are backed by our 2-year, fully transferable warranty and our legendary customer service, the best in the industry. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
Well. Hello and welcome to 100 Watts and a Wire. Good morning to you. Our Saturday morning live show, a live stream, and we appreciate you guys being here. A lot going on around the country today, especially in the Northeast or the Mid-Atlantic up. And we'll be stopping and checking in on some folks today as they go about their busy day with a lot of stuff going on. We know that our friend Patrick, he's basically a producer for the show. He's a really resourceful guy. He may check in today. He's up in the Boston area, and they're getting it hard. And we know that from Pastor Joe all the way up. In fact, my mother's in Delaware, so I know that they're getting snow in Delaware. They're also getting through Maryland all the way up. But the team that is up closer to the Boston area are really starting to get things settling in now. And we say good morning to Steve. Sidecar Steve is here.
Good morning.
How you doing?
No snow for us. No fog this morning, so.
We're sitting at 22 degrees this morning and sunshine, which is lovely.
24, but overcast.
24. Very good. Yeah, and so much going on. We have our friends here. We do this every Saturday morning now. It's wonderful. My daughter has worked out a schedule where I don't have to be the daddy wagon on Saturday morning, so we can kind of gather here and do our community live stream. So we have our friends here in the chat room. I'm going to start looking at some temperatures here. If you guys want to drop those in, we can do some sort of weather update that's going on. And we'll also bring Uncle Paul is here today. We're going to bring him in. We'll find a spot for Uncle Paul. Hang tight with us there, Paul. We'll get an update from what's going on in New Jersey. We have a little bit of video to share. Now, our podcast listeners wouldn't be able to see this. It was sent in this morning, but we will describe it for you. And basically, let me see if I can share this. Pastor Joe, the perennial PETA. I'll just say PETA. You guys know what that is, right? He's Pastor Joe. Right now, I'm going to call him Big Papi Pastor Joe because he's so excited Big Papi's getting into the Hall of Fame this year.
On the first vote. Unbelievable. It was awesome.
I think when you hit that 500 home run club, next thing you know, all he had to do was stay clean, and he did. Mm-hmm. He stayed a clean ball player. And there's many others I guess we could talk about that didn't get in there that, they're eligible, the whole deal with the juice. When I say clean, I'm talking about the steroids. And many of those guys couldn't do it. There was a period of time, though, the guys that are still eligible went through that long ball period from McGuire and Clemens, the Bonds. They're going to run out of time at some point,
Yeah.
But Cal Ripken, I can tell you, I got bobblehead Cal Ripken. I'll show you right here. He is he gets me through. And I say, when I go over there, I'll say a little something to Cal. He'll give me some advice. No problems. Cal Ripken, no problem. Straight in. And he saved the game of baseball. So that's all I want to say. And if you're like, oh, come on, Big Papi did it. No, Big Papi didn't do it. Go back into the mid-'90s and the strike that was happening in Major League Baseball. And who got you out? I need a Cal Ripken cam. Is that what I need? There he is. Save the game. The baseball people who know baseball know I'm true. I'm telling the truth. Don't get me started in here, Steve. Steve comes in and says, good morning, everybody. And I'm like, let me tell you another thing. There's another damn thing going on here. We need to talk about it. Anyway, I got a little bit of a clip from Pastor Joe. He sent it in, and I think I can play it for you. Let me bring it in. He doesn't talk through it, but I think he was shoveling a little bit this morning, and he was going to try to call in. Let's see.
He was shoveling.
Yeah, he was shoveling, right. We can get it on the ground. Let's see if we can bring in our friend, Uncle Paul. I think we can get Paul to come in and give us a report. Good morning to you, sir. November 2, Hotel Yankee Golf. I know you're not out there trying to deal with all this stuff.
Not yet, but the snowblower is all ready. Good old Mr. Aarons is facing the garage door, ready to fire up. We've got about 11 and a quarter inches so far on
Wow.
average. It's been drifting. We've been getting a lot of wind. So the drifts can be anywhere from, say, like 9 inches up to over 15 inches so far. But on average, we're about 11.25. That's what I sent in to the National Weather Service this morning for the sky warn. So it was, it is what it is, and it's not supposed to stop until between 2 and 3 this afternoon, and it's coming
Oh
down like
man.
gangbusters. It's that very fine, fine snow, so you know it's going to linger.
Oh my.
Let me ask you, Uncle Paul, you are a retired um, emergency operator, right? You're an emergency professional. You were in your past life. Stuff like this, what are some things that people should have been thinking about yesterday or a couple days leading up to this storm?
Bread and milk.
You didn't do that. We're starting this show over. This sucks. That's it.
Uh, basically, everybody's been warned on this one. It's going to be a lengthy storm, and all of the townships around here have already mentioned that do not park on the streets because of the snow removal. And it's like there's people that are not going to adhere to that, but again. Uh, with possibly up to 15 inches of snow, at least here, um, it's like I know what we try to do. We try to uh, be a little bit proactive. Number one, a lot of the streets have been brined, especially by the county. The county has already gone through. Even some of the side streets that the county owns have been brined, which is very very good. It doesn't help so much now with this amount of snow, um, but it makes it easier for snow removal.
Hmm.
Yeah, and you're right. I was the communications coordinator for emergency management for Ocean County, and I was a deputy coordinator for Toms River for over 21 years. And it's like people are going to just hear what you say if they follow what you're preaching. It's that's another thing. But right now, the snow is quite heavy. It started out as a wet snow. It's a finer snow right now. It might not look that bad, but if you're going to go out there with a shovel, just take your time. Do it in small bites. And that's basically another thing that we try to tell them. Don't try to do it all at once, um, especially if you're an elderly person. Either try to get somebody to help you, a neighbor or whatever. I know my snowblower usually goes constantly for hours. Once I start, I get myself clean, and I do a couple of the neighbors around also. This is where the family comes in, whether
Hmm.
it's a next door neighbor or whatever. Just don't be afraid to knock on a door and say, basically, and if you haven't introduced yourself to your next door neighbor, just this is a good time to do it. And just offer your services to help clear out, especially like with us around in this particular neighborhood. Uh, I've got a gentleman and his wife next door that are in their 80s. Across the street, uh, that's another story. She's close to 80, but she has her daughter and grandchildren there, so they have the help. But again, don't be afraid to help your neighbor out, especially in cases like this. We haven't had any power outages, which is good. But again, you never know. The winds were not as strong as they predicted, um, but again, the snow that remains on the trees, even though there's no leaves, it is heavy. We could still get gusts. They're saying still gusts to over 40. So
Oh my.
it's not going to be unlikely that we might have some power outages. And if there are power outages,
Mm-hmm.
again, if you can report it, being that there's cell phones, I know cell phone is no problem whatsoever right now, but just report the power outages. It might say, well, what is my phone call going to do? Well, it gives them an idea of a cluster where to start looking for the power outages. So again, you can look. Usually, you should be able to get on your cell phone and also find out what number to call. There's usually a specific number to call for your power company. But again, that's some little things. But again, take the snow in little bites. Don't go out there
Okay.
and figure, okay, I'm going to do my whole yard or my whole driveway, or take it in little bites. Come back in and have a hot chocolate, or a nice buttered rum or something.
Mm.
So,
There we go.
but
Now
but
we're
again,
talking.
yeah,
You're
there
not
you go.
going anywhere, right?
No, we're not going anywhere.
Well, thank you, Uncle Paul. You're welcome to hang with us a little bit and give us a report in just a little while, or do whatever you need to do there. But we appreciate you stopping in and giving us an update of how things look in New Jersey. We will see you tomorrow on the net. You're going to do one more before you hit the road?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Nice.
And I'll be signing in from the road, so it's like from the mobile. I don't know how good I'm going to be, but we got everything up and ready. We got the good old Yaesu, the FT 891, all ready to fire up with the ATIS type, the ATAS 120 Alpha, ready to go.
All right. Thank you, sir. We'll check back
Perfect.
in with you in just a little. There he is, Uncle Paul, everybody, giving us a little bit of the business. Keeps our too much information stuff sometimes in check. He likes to give us and tell us that's too much. You're talking about your balls too much, or you're talking about
Too much.
Mick
Too
and
many
Keith,
talk about stones.
You're talking about the stones.
And then he throws out some cherries in the Discord.
Yeah. So he's funny. So we're going to check in. You're welcome to put your temperatures and what you're looking at into the chat today for our listening audience. Every Saturday morning at 9:00, we do our community live stream. You're welcome to be a part of it. We encourage you to come by. If you can't, this is kind of what it sounds like. But go ahead and give us a little bit of your time and your temperature. What's happening over there? This just in from Mark in Maryland. He says toilet paper and bourbon high on his list. Tell us what's high on your list for days like this. If you're on the East Coast or anywhere where you're getting something like that, I hear the Midwest may be getting something in a little bit of a few days. So we'll see. I don't know if it has anything to do with this storm or another one, but I'm hearing rumbling. But I'd rather take it one at a time here. Ben says, Big Ben. Besides looking at dogs taking dumps, he's the one that gave us the calendar last week. He says French toast. French toast is the cuisine of all storms. I suppose that's how that goes. Looking around. Anything you want to add to all that sort of stuff? You're used to dealing with the snow too. You got a huge truck out there, and I guess there's some days like what they're getting on the East Coast where you stay in. I do have that feeling like I want to get out there and I don't want to be stuck with 8 inches of snow or more in one time. So I kind of will do 4 inches at a time. I get out there a couple times during the day and spread out the removal. But I'm old.
We had that 2-foot dump here, a while ago. And yeah, it took me a good chunk of the day just to get dug out. I couldn't leave. It was just too much. I mean, I could have, but I wouldn't have gotten back in. So I had to plow the driveway. So that was a long day.
I am. Sorry. I'm just going to let the people know.
Took care of my neighbor, like Paul mentioned. I have an elderly neighbor below me, and so between one of my other neighbors and myself, between our tractors, we'll plow her out and make sure that she's can get out and taken care of. But other than that, it was take it in small chunks. That's what I did. And I spread it out over the day. I still got some walkways that I still haven't shoveled, but it's walkways that's not being used, so around the house.
Yeah.
Until it's time to fill up propane, then that's another story.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're not getting it. We've been getting just a little bit of dusting, and it was enough. And it's like maybe we need to move Christmas to January, because this has been a week where we're just getting just a little bit of snow to make things pretty. And the Cardinals are a nice contrast among the snow and all that sort of stuff. But what they're getting is no joke. And it looks like it's really starting to bear down on the Boston area.
If I'm not mistaken, it's been a while since, I don't think last year the East Coast got a real big dumping. It's been a year or two, but Pastor Joe can fill us in on when the last time the East Coast got a good dumping. And good morning, Pastor Joe.
Pastor Joe is around. We also have Patrick. Let's see. Oopsie daisy. We've got Ricardo. Yeah, it's going to be crazy in the south side of Florida. It's going to be freezing. So that's what you get, Ricardo. I mean, all these times you've come into on the show and it's like, oh, it's 76 degrees. It's like 22 here. He chimes in, 76, I'm going to put on a sweater today. Oh, you.
Exactly.
So but
Dude,
oddly,
it's
they're
going to
getting
be layered like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's going to be like that kid from Christmas Story. Frank, Ralphie's little brother.
That's funny. Good morning to you, Ricardo. It's good to see you back
brother.
here. So I dropped the link to join. It's under the mat here at the back door, and you can just lift it up, come in, grab a cup of coffee, come in and say hello for a couple of minutes if you like. We had Scotty in Maryland, too, who's we're going to do this weather report. Everybody's putting their temperatures in there. Got to have somebody come in and read them. I guess we can go. Here he comes. There's a different Scotty. Here's our Scotty. Nope, it's our Scotty. He's our boy. He's our boy. There he is. What's going on, Scotty?
Look at Rockstar.
Hey, what's happening?
How you doing?
Not much going on. Just had a little power flicker here, knocked me out for a second. Got back in just in time.
That's cool. No, it's fine. I saw you pop in there, and Scotty's in the Maryland area. Actually, he's in Ellicott City, Maryland. He's not in the area. He's actually in Maryland.
Smack dab in the middle.
He's got the one.
Baltimore.
Scotty is like a producer. Scotty now he's joined the crew here on Saturday morning. Hey, do you have access to your chat? We can go and look through some of the weather. Do you want to read some of the weather stuff? We don't have Pastor Joe yet this morning. Let's see what's happening with the folks in the chat.
So we'll say that since I got knocked out and put back in, I'm only seeing as far back as Ricardo's Christmas Story comment.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That pushed me back.
That's okay.
What I can do is I can actually pop over to the to look at the YouTube side, as long as I don't look at it or try to listen to it. And
whatever you need to do. Whatever you need to do. I got Pastor Joe coming in. Go ahead and do that, and I'll pull him up.
Pastor Joe's coming. We got lots of folks here. We got B Butlers with us. A lot of folks joining us as always. A lot of people talking about getting some snow. Mark says he's got 21 degrees, and he's got 3 inches there. And what else we got going on here today? I got my 2-meter repeater IDing in the background. CW.
All good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Nobody on
toilet
our
paper
repeaters.
and bourbon. Toilet paper and bourbon. That's definitely some Snowmageddon materials we need there. Let's see, we got Todd's with us. Love the idea of shoveling in short segments. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Unfortunately, we didn't have to do much shoveling here at all. I got about a half inch here in Ellicott City today.
That's great.
Yeah. I think somebody saw in the chat, somebody had mentioned they had like in Ocean City, Maryland, there was upwards of 10 inches of snow. We got Ricardo says Florida will be participating in the Winter Field Day this year. It'd be a nice place to operate Winter Field Day from
a lot of people will not. It is Winter Field Day.
Especially for us folks on the West Coast. I'm at 22 degrees right now here in Ellicott City. Phillips asked what frequency out there. We're not on the air. We're just doing the stream at the moment. So we're not.
He's probably just wondering what frequency your 2-meter radio is
maybe
tuned to.
Oh, that's true. My local repeater is 147.135. from the Columbia, Maryland Amateur Radio Association. A PL tone of 156.7.
You asked.
That's nice little group. Nice little group of folks. They had a cool. Was it last weekend? I had to go visit my mom, but they had a nice during a winter field day sort of antenna party. They were breaking out. They're setting up a hex beam that they pulled out of storage from 2 years ago, and they just picked up a portable tower, one of those trailer tower with the towers with the
nice
telescoping tower, and they're gonna put that hex beam up on that. So they're testing all that stuff out. And then another cool thing that they did, they're doing radio support for a marathon in the Patapsco Valley State Park, and so they're set up a temporary repeater with APRS so they could keep track of everybody. And there's that's cool, kind of fun. They had people walking around in the park with their APRS handhelds and make sure everything works. They had people outside of the park tracking APRS positions, make sure everything was working, make sure they had the coverage of the repeater that they needed for the event. So yeah, it's cool. They do some cool stuff here.
And how many people are participating from the club?
There was probably, let's see, Nancy, and I'd say there's probably a good 10 to 12 people that were there. So for a small little radio club, that's pretty good turnout.
Oh yeah.
Upwards of hey guys, just a quick report. Let me pull it up here. Let me see if I can do this real quick. I don't know if I can. I was looking for the power. There's like almost 80,000 people without power in Massachusetts at this point in time. So they're getting it. Scotty, stand by. We're going to go and check in with Pastor Joe. We'll keep an eye on the chats and things that are going on there. Let's go see what Pastor Joe is to. Pastor Joe, what's happening, man? Pastor Joe, you're live.
Hey, how are you guys? Sorry, I can't do horizontal. But,
that's okay. No, you fit well.
Phone. But this is outside Freehold, New Jersey. Morning at 8 o'clock, we had about 7 inches. And I probably should have been blowing my snow last night and earlier today. You can see we've got a lot of snow. There's my close personal friend, the snow blower. And it's cold. We have a wind chill of like 13 or something, 22 degrees, and pretty heavy winds. We took a gust of 28 overnight, steady at about 10 or 12. So I got a lot of snow to blow here. So yeah, yeah, that's it, man. This is it from Freehold, New Jersey, man, in the belly of the beast.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Pastor Joe. Stay safe out there. We don't want anything happening to Pastor Joe. We need to get a little closer, one step closer. You know, Steve and I need a lot of help, in other words. So, but it's good to have you there, Joe. Stay out of trouble. Congratulations to Big Poppy. Big Poppy. He didn't even bring it up. What a gentleman. He didn't bring it up to. But, it's all good. He joins the class with Cal Ripken. Right, Cal? Big Poppy's Big Poppy's okay. Big Poppy's fine. Put him back up there. That's who I consult to try to get to the other side. It's Cal Ripken. That's all I'm going to say. And I get to pay the gates of whatever hell or heaven. It'll be like Cal Ripken Jr. Junior. Senior? No. Cal Junior. Save the game of baseball. All that weird stuff.
Well, when we refer to Junior, we have Ken Griffey, for here in the Northwest.
So good, man. So good. I love Ken Griffey Jr. He's amazing. Amazing. Good morning to Jeff. He says it's 32 degrees and cloudy. He's Kilo Golf 7, Foxtrot,
Morning,
Oscar, Jeff. Foxtrot, and Ricardo. Falling iguanas in South Florida will be the story next weekend. Even Miami dropping into the 30s.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The iguanas will start tipping over because of the cold temperature. Oh. Let's go out and do some iguana tipping.
That's just bizarre, isn't it? We have a couple questions. I want to let you guys know how you can get questions in here. Right now, in my mind, has switched completely to understanding that people are struggling with different aspects. I've got the mailing list, and anybody with a 100-watt ID becomes a member of the mailing list, and I send out an update of what's going on and that sort of stuff. But I realize that people are struggling with digital modes, and other things. There's other aspects of the game. And I was telling Steve this a little earlier today that and I'm honored. I think it's great that people send me email and it's almost life type approaches, trying to get, how do I approach this sort of lag in my confidence or mic fright or these sorts of aspects, and they come in and I'm happy to help, but not everybody's really, this is one of those things where it's like a man's world and we have a hard time breaking it down to each other. Oh, I'm fine. And on the inside, it's just like, I'm a mess. So people will tend to do these things kind of offline and off into the. So I just put it out there because I'm trying to see if we can actually help. Steve always helps with the technical side of things and the mental and emotional stuff. It comes to me, but it comes to the whole community. And not to sound wimpy at all, but I put a form in the chat. I probably should have given that to Scotty as well. Of course, you can come in here and ask a question. We left a key under the mat, but I also have a form. It's below the. Oh, let me see if I can find it. Maybe Scotty can find it. It's in the description below the actual video of the live stream. If we pop that in, you can send a question or a comment, or if you're struggling with anything, we're happy to help you. It doesn't matter if it's an emotional issue or a motivational issue or just I can't get the SWR right. All of it plays well here in the community, and that's kind of what we should be about. And I saw, and I don't want to point him out specifically, but he's here. And I asked what you're struggling with, right? So let's talk about this for a minute, Steve. The motivation to upgrade. Okay, so this is a little bit, we need a little bit more information for me. Why you lack motivation. Is it because you're not operating as much? Is it because you don't know the benefits of upgrading, or you're just sort of out of operating, or you know what I mean? You get to the point where, and you mentioned, I don't know if you want to tell this on the air, but you were going to tell me a story about how you kind of had some burnout. Do you want to talk about that? I don't know if this is manly enough for people, but I did bring a damn thing. I got this. I got that. I'm waving a, I don't even know what it is called right now. It's a screwdriver. I will get you with it. A joke, guys. It's a joke. I'm holding up a wrench. It's a joke.
No, it's kind of just, being in the field that I work in is so highly, intertwined with amateur radio. I mean, it's just, I work with radios as part of my day job. And so one utility I was working for, the techs got rotated through what we call the screen room. And I spent 8 hours a day sitting in a screen room. And what a screen room is a box, that when you close the door, it's RF tight. It's copper lined. The doors have fingers on it to keep the RF in. And so I was just basically a bench tech. All I was doing was repairing GE, MPE radios or whatever, these handhelds. And I spent the day repairing them. So I happened to be working in a nuclear power plant, and the security force at a nuclear power plant is very hard on equipment. It just, come Monday morning, I had a box of radios that were broken cases, this and that, and it just came in day after day. So at the end of 8-hour shift of, looking at radios, the last thing I wanted to do was play ham radio. And I was like as active as I am now, if not more, because I was younger, into the hobby, and then just the burnout. And that went for about 6 months. And I only spent 3 months into the screen room, but that lingered on. And it was like, I don't want to do any more radio, or I don't want to play, someone will call me up, say, hey, I got problems with my repeater, or, you want to do a mountaintop trip. Like, F no, I'm done. And it took about, it was a 6-month lull, and I just burned out of the hobby. And So we all go through it. We kind of have a point to where we kind of hit a wall or something. And, you know, at the time I was angry about it because I didn't want to be involved in it. But then I just, as time went on, then finally I, I transferred to another, uh, position or another location. And one of my old former Comtechs basically reignited the spark, and it's been gangbusters ever since. But you know, we're talking in the '90s when this happened, and so I mean, we all go through this, and it's okay. We kind of go through the, you know, go hard in the beginning, and maybe that was part of the problem. And so nowadays, you know, when someone asks you, I just slow down. We're okay. Just take your time. It will be fine. And it's so it's, you know, if you hit that wall or whatever, it's okay. Just, you know, we'll power through it and go from there. But you know, don't take your eye off the prize, and you'll eventually get there and back at it. And so here we are, 45 years later, basically. Well, since I started in the hobby.
One of my early, I guess, friends, I need to reach out to him now that I thought about him. I do that. If I have a dream and somebody pops up in it, I write to them. If they pop into my mind, I haven't talked, I write to them. Old Lanny here in Missouri, you know, when I first met him, you know, he had hex beam, he had wires in the tree. I mean, he had kind of like you have there behind you, the Collins line. He had radios and speakers all the way around this rectangular room, and it was just like mind bending. I was like, wow, like this is amazing. And you know, there were so many things I wanted to do. I was just like, I got to do this. I want to get that. I want everything perfect. And in a lot of ways, I just want somebody to tell me what I should do. And that's not how this goes at all. You know, we can't really just say, well, buy this antenna, you'll be golden, man. You know, somebody may say, yeah, if I tell you to buy a step IR, put it up a certain amount of thing or whatever, you're going to be gold. Probably. But people starting out, you know, you just don't have that end-all antenna that's like going to solve all your problems for you. You can't get that answer. And I told him, I want to get one of the, he's in an HOA. He had a hex beam. I want to get a hex beam. You know, I was all, and he was like, you're doing great. You just slow down. And I was like, what do you mean slow down? You know, because I got so lost up in the other stuff, I wasn't really even operating. You know, I was so nutty about trying to get the perfect setup for myself that I wasn't even on the radio. You know what I mean? It was something else was leading my whole. I never got to the burnout part, but I definitely got to the part where I was like, hey, you need to slow down. Like, he was totally right. You can't just get everything on that day. Now, the comment that came in, you know, the struggle with the motivation to upgrade. If that's happening to you and you want to talk about it, send me a line, drop me a line. I left the key under. You can come in and we can talk about the whys. You know, what is it? You know, but I could also say that I know some hams that have been generals forever, their whole ride, 40, 50 years, and they're cool with that. And the upgrade to, say, extra isn't that important to them. They get everything they need. I know another guy, he's an MCOM guy, only a technician. And I'll say only a technician because he's the leader of an emergency communications group. And I thought, but technician is where he wants to be. Like, that's his jam right there. That's what he wants to do. And I'm like, cool, man. He has no ambition to go beyond that. And it's not that he couldn't. It's just his passion is in that VHF, UHF sort of technician class license. And I'm like,
yeah, exactly. And that's a big thing. When we had the 5 levels of licensing, you know, today we have 3, but when we had novice, technician, general, advanced, and extra, a lot of people that got their advanced never made the step to go to extra because the only difference between advanced and extra was you got, and a few bands, you got the bottom 25 kilohertz of the CW. And there was guys that's like, I don't operate CW, so why even bother upgrade to extra? I'll just stay as an advanced for forever and ever, and which is fine. And you brought up the point, the people that are technician class licensed, because that's their passion, that's what they like. And I was like, and I'm always, you know me, hey, get your extra, get your general, get your extra, just so that you get it out of the way, you're done. And the reason I push for it is that once you have your extra, you have available everything. Whether you use it or not is another story. It's up to you. Whether all you like is VHF, UHF, and you want to play in that realm, FM, that's excellent. But having the extra, yeah, maybe one day you might want to use it or something like that. The thing I have to really struggle and work for me is not to make it a class warfare thing. And we have a tendency to, you're just a technician. Okay. But that's fine. You're a radio operator. That's all I care about. You're an amateur radio operator. I don't care what class license it is, but I have to be careful. For me, this is a personal thing, is that I'm not putting myself above you because you have a technician class and I have an extra. Who cares? I don't care. You have a license. That's all I care about. Now, would I encourage you to get your general and extra? Yes. Because you know what? I want to talk to you on HF. But you can get on HF with a technician class. I just have to go to 10 meters to talk to you on that. So we need to be careful on that part, that we're all radio amateur operators, and it doesn't matter what class license we have, and whatever class license you want to have, perfect. It's your hobby, not my. It's you operate your hobby your way, and that's great. So if I come across pushing you, I was get upgrade. I'm always pushing everybody to upgrade just to get it out of the way, because I think they're going to start charging for our licenses, on top of the, VEC fees. But so that's kind of a monetary push. But no, it's good.
All right. So there you go. We can discuss further if that operator wants to open up about why, the motivation. And there could be many things, and I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole of why you would or would not want to. Another one, a guy called Matt, he's struggling with getting on the air more, and that's going in phases for him. He seems to be, I guess, dipping in and dipping out of it. And all I can say, I guess, without that conversation, with that limited information there, is that I think that's natural, where you're in and out.
It's natural, or that it's, is it a time issue? Is it you're afraid of what you're going to say on the radio? It's like, who cares what you say on the radio? As long as you're within part 97, who cares what you say? If you say 7.3 or 7.3s or 7/3 or whatever, who gives a crap? It's no big deal. It's like, I've run into guys that still use some of the lingo from 11 meters, because that's where they were natural. They were there for many years, and they bring it over in an amateur radio. And it's like, okay, fine. Don't blow a gasket, people. It's okay. If someone uses a lingo, and I'm talking to you, us old timers, guys like me that have been around a while, we don't need to blow a gasket because someone is not using, you're not using QRZ properly, or you're destinated. That's not a word. You don't do that. It's like, who gives a flying?
Oh, he almost said it. Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
Oh, Lord.
It's so...
Just missed the beep.
Don't worry about the ham speak. It doesn't matter. It just be yourself. Go out, have fun. If that's what's holding you back, don't worry about it. If someone loses their collective mind or their poop, who cares? It's their, let them just go off the rails. Just have fun, enjoy yourself, be yourself. And that's what it's all. That's what we want. We want you. Just like just you. The real deal. We don't need no phony BS.
I'm going to check in with Scotty, see if there's any comments going on in the chat. But one from, and it's not even to be political, but I got to use it. I'm going to drop it in there from time to time, is this one from our current president of the United States.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
Yes. I will play that as much as it applies.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
Gotta love that.
I am.
Yeah. I wasn't directed at you. You did inspire me to go, don't you have a drop that says something like you're thinking right now? But thank you, JB. That's wonderful.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
God, I love the open mic, the hot mic. All right, let's go over and check in with Scott.
Great reason for upgrading. I like that. Before we go to Scotty, is that upgrade is, so if you end up going over the edge of the of the general the sub band, you're legal. You won't get into any hot water. So that's another good reason. What
are they talking about in the chat, producer Scotty?
They're talking about some getting some upgrades, and let's see here. James N. He said he got his tech in 2016, upgraded to general a month later, and then extra about a year and a half after that. What else we got here? Sticking with old school operations, a little discussion on some digital modes as well, since that's been a topic of discussion.
There's actually
Brent.
Go ahead. Sorry.
What's that?
I was going to mention I'm putting together a digital, like a 100 watts and wire digital team, because a lot of the other aspects of people struggling is with the digital. And I know for myself, I don't know dick about digital. And I know a little bit about D-Star, can't go to Sidecar Steve. So I'm like, you know what we should do is develop a little team of support, because people are, they're struggling with it. So at least I can do is facilitate. I can't answer these questions, but I'm going to bring some people together. I think we have 3 people so far that are willing to help others, and we'll figure it out as we go. Sorry, Scotty, but I know that is one of the things that people are stuck with.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with digital modes as well. I've the most that I've explored is FT8, and I would love to get into other stuff. The whole the hotspots and D-Star and Wires X and all that stuff. I don't know. It's a bit of a learning curve, and trying to get wrapped around that, and all these and WinLink and all sorts of cool stuff.
If you guys have a question, you can put it in the chat. Put a Q in front of it, and then maybe Scotty can see it a little easier. There was a question that came across the forum and on the chat. I missed it there. I got to get this chat up, so the interview chat here in our stream, so Scotty can see that, and I'll send him messages.
Yeah, it's with the comments. That's I'm trying to don't really have much way to interact stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. It's okay. Let me see. Ben, we know Ben. He's the one with the pooping calendar, the pooping pooches calendar. More of a question, probably for. I'll give this one over to Sidecar. Is it okay to use an antenna switch as a radio switch?
Yeah, of course. You can take, if you had like a 2-position switch, you had 2 radios, and then you just take one position A goes to radio A, position B goes to radio B, and then the common can go then to another switch, which then has all your other switches. So, it's perfect.
Another satisfied customer.
You needed to give me that son of a bitch one.
Oh, you want a little JB?
What a stupid son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's what I am. Yes.
Stupid son of a.
Yeah, what a stupid son of a. Yeah, it's coming from the man at the top.
Me, that's reference to me.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
From the top down.
From the top down. That's a direct message for Sidecar Steve. We had some good feedback from the Radio Waves DX40. The 30 days. We did the 30 days. We released a podcast this week. Doing quite well for our podcast listeners. They get everything first on the audio side. and I'll piece it out there as on the YouTube as we go. But a lot of good feedback and some questions about off-center feds. Really, I thought it'd be a good idea to talk a little bit about that 4-to-1 balun, the long element, the short element. Steve, you want to talk a little bit about the off-center fed? They are calling it a Wyndham. They're calling that antenna a Wyndham.
Yeah, that's
You
what
want
it
to talk
is.
about it?
I mean, yeah, it's a Wyndham, and the original Wyndham was basically, think of it as 3 wires, and so you had a short wire, and then you had a long wire, and then you had the third wire, which currently now is our coax, and that came into the shack, and so that was the original off-center fed. It wasn't a dipole; it was just a 3-legged wire antenna, and but as time went on, they went to running coax, and then how it came about, I don't know. I have to do some research who the first person that or persons that developed the off-center fed with using the 4-to-1 balun. And so a dipole is a monoband antenna, basically. So when you feed it, at the half, in the center of at the quarter wavelengths, that you have an impedance that is around 72 ohms, which is close to 50 ohm coax. So this is where we get the match. But that's a monoband antenna. So obviously we want to have an antenna that works everything. So someone has turned around and developed the off-center fed dipole, figuring out, well, we'll go to an impedance point that's 200 ohms, and we found that, hey, we got multiple bands that work and resonate, and hence where we came up with the off-center fed dipole. Now I've seen different percentages of the short versus the long. I've built a few different ones based on different percentages, and then sweep them and see, okay, how's this faring, or okay, this is good. And it ended up truly becoming when I was doing all this, it became the compromise, and it was like, oh, okay, well, if I go with this, then it works better over here or there, but it was a little poor performance, or I didn't like the results at this band versus this band. So it and that's kind of where the off-center fed. Then the Carolina Wyndham, which is an off-center fed dipole, they changed the balun from a current balun, which kept all the RF for the most part on the wires. They used a voltage balun, and the way the voltage balun works, it allows RF to come back down the feed line. So they took a short piece of coax to utilize that as part of the radiating element, and then put a current balun at the end of that section of coax, whether it was 22 feet or 10 feet, depending on which, if it was Wyndham 80 or Carolina Wyndham 80 or Carolina Wyndham 40, then that kept the RF up at the antenna. So kind of different designs that kind of came up, and how they implemented it. But in a nutshell, an off-center fed dipole is more a multi-band antenna versus a dipole, which is a monoband antenna.
Cool. Thank you for that, Steve. Appreciate that. If you have a question about off-center fed dipoles, or you're interested in hearing the review, it's a peer review system where 4 operators were sent the antenna. Now, they weren't... Radio Waves did not send them out. The show purchased these antennas and sent them out to 4 people who had their name picked in a lottery. Basically, if you have a 100-watt ID, you can register to be a reviewer in the peer review system. I have nothing to do with it. Steve has nothing to do with it. We don't give you our feedback. And if you listen to that podcast, you'll see I'm the point guard. They are the ones who tested it for 30 days, and they give you that honest review. So check that out. And coming up this week, I'll put some of the clips up there, which are valuable to our podcast audience to go back and reference if you want to see the installs. I can show you that sort of stuff too. I have those images, but that's pretty cool. And Patrick, you should be calling in here, man. You're the one up there getting the brunt of that snow. But we do have a guest coming in, and the person that I want to bring in here was the person, Todd, who was want to talk about a little bit of motivation with the upgrade. So let me see if I can get him.
Hey,
Hello, brother Todd. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, I bet you can now. How's it going, sir?
Oh, yes, I sure can. Is my audio good?
Yeah, you sound good. Talk about this
All right.
motivation. I saw you. I didn't want to put you out there like that. And then I saw you in there, and I'm like, he should probably speak for himself. So what's the issue with motivation, Todd?
Eh, eh, In the end, it's like I'm not really gaining anything besides bandwidth.
What's your class now, Todd? What license do you have?
General.
Okay.
So, I can do FT8. I'm contesting. I'm doing other digital modes, CW here and there. So, in the end, I'm gaining bandwidth. That's it. The jump, from, say, tech to general is huge because you're gaining bands, you're gaining, a lot more space. And it's this me right now. I'm happy with where I am, and I have people like a buddy of mine down in South Carolina that upgraded here a few months ago, and he sent me his books, as a hint, and it's just I'm happy with where I'm at.
So you're not feeling conflicted about it. You're cool with where you are.
Yeah, I mean, it's a eventual. I do want to upgrade, but to do it anytime soon, there's little to no desire.
I get it. Talk to him, Steve.
Perfect. Yeah. So if I'm kind of reading into it a little bit, I'm thinking you're feeling a little frustrated that the collective, your friends or whatever, are pushing you, saying, "Hey, Todd, you got to upgrade. You got to upgrade. Yeah, do it, brother. Do it. Get it." And you're just perfectly happy where you're at. And I personally respect that. I mean, I will project out and say, "Hey, you should upgrade." But you know what? If you're happy being a general and boom, that's it. End of question. We're done. As far as, you pushing you to upgrade. I am super happy that you are happy where you're at and what modes you operate, what you want to do in your hobby here. And so it's okay. Now we just need, as your friend, to back off, and we need to say, "Hey, leave you alone. Give you your space. How can we help you enjoy what you have now?" And then we'll move on.
I mean, it's not really that, that people are pushing me. I mean, that's not the frustration. The frustration is that I eventually want to. I mean, that's in game.
But now's not the time.
It's this doing it anytime soon.
Cool.
As I've already said a couple or three times now, what am I gaining? Really nothing besides bandwidth.
That makes sense. You struggling with anything else, Todd?
Exactly.
No.
Well, good. You're just a perfect guy. Look at him. He's happy. Leave him alone. Don't make me come down there with my screwdriver. I like having fun with the people.
No, that's cool. I mean, I can give you reasons for it, but I'm not going to.
Yeah,
You're happy.
I'm missing out on DX because a lot of the DX is in the extra force. But I'm getting good DX now. I mean,
exactly.
10 meters here a week or so ago, I hit Spain. Last week, wasn't it, Christian?
Yeah, I did put that up there. You were hitting, it's all good. you'll get to the point if you ever do. I know it's the end game for you, and you'll get there on your timeline. It's no big deal. You're out there running it. It's no big deal as long as you're still operating. If you were worried and had no motivation to do amateur radio, then I'd have to come over there and get my screwdriver and I'll come over there. But I'm glad that you're good
for that.
And then we'll slam the JB on you, and if you lost your motivation. But as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. Because in the end, this is your hobby, and how you want to participate in your hobby is up to you. It's not me.
Right.
It's not Christian. It's not anybody else. As your friends, we might say, hey, go ahead, push, just because we want it. But you know what? In the end, brother, I'm with you. If General is getting it done for you, I'm all for it. And I'll help you any way I can so you can enjoy the hobby even more.
But you know what JB says about Sidecar?
What a stupid son of a bitch.
So take it with a grain of sand. Todd, I'm glad you're good. I want to check in with Uncle Paul here for a minute because Uncle Paul's been in the game
Thank
too.
you,
If
Todd.
he's still there. Todd, great to see you, man. Thanks for coming by.
Yep, thanks.
All right, man. Good to see you. And let's see if we can bring in Uncle Paul here to comment a little bit. There he is. Uncle Paul, talk about a little bit of what you're listening to today. I know you've been in the game for a long time. Any advice for anybody who's just sort of cool or dealing with any sort of pressures with upgrades and that sort of thing? Oh, I have you muted? I've got you muted. Sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
Don't listen to anybody but your inner self. If you're satisfied where you are, that's the name of the game, because you're going to operate at that point. If you start getting pushed and everything starts to fall apart, you're not going to operate. I've been licensed since 1964, so that's about 58 years. I've been in and out of the hobby, but again, it's like as your life ebbs and flows, so does your hobby. There's times that my radio equipment just was gathering dust, but you have to remember that your license is good for 10 years. And so you've got that 10-year window to make up your mind what you want to do. Don't let people push you. It's like Steve says, it's your hobby. Don't get caught up into other people's visions because it's not yours. Your vision is what you created at that point in time, and it's like that's the way I run my hobby. That's the way I run. I have a friend. He's becoming a friend. He was just licensed. He just took his test about 3 weeks ago, and he wound up getting his tech and his general. He missed
Nice.
his extra, but like I told him, I said, number one, get used to your hobby. Get used to the equipment that you eventually will have. Are you going to start out like what I have now, or what Steve has now, or what you have now, Christian? Of course not. A lot of us are lucky to have an HT to start with, but that's a start. And don't let that anybody else's influence your hobby, because it's your hobby, and it's what you make it at that time. This equipment is not cheap to start off with, so it's like you don't look at what everybody else has. Yeah, it's nice to have pictures on a wall. It's nice to say, okay, that's my target. All right, but targets are meant to be reached. You've got a long ways to go, and basically that's my outlook in a nutshell.
Well, thank you so much for that, sir. And I think I'll take one of those scotches. What do we do? 2 fingers or 3 fingers? One round?
I'm a three finger. I'm a 3-finger.
Oh, I'm a 2-finger guy then. I'll go with 2 because I'm not at Paul's level. Thank you, Uncle Paul.
The professional level, we'll stay with the 2 fingers.
Yeah, I'm a lightweight. I need
amateurs.
to take it easy on that. Let me see if I can pull this up. There's a question that came in from the forum. So that's good if I can find it on the screen here. Off-center fed question. I have a Radio Waves DX80 I got it to tune less than 2 to 1 on 80, 17, and 10. On 40, it acts like it's long, and 20 acts like it's short. If I tune it for 40 or 20, nothing else tunes. Using 1/3 to 2/3 cut lengths, I have a 32-foot length of coax for the vertical radiator. Could the vertical radiator be throwing off the SWR? Any tips, ideas on getting it resonant on 80, 40, 20, and 10 as it advertises?
Is the DX40 a Carolina Wyndham style antenna?
The 80? Yeah, he's got the 80.
the
I don't
80.
know. I think they do fancy this or call that in the packaging a Wyndham.
So
However,
they have
it's
a vertical radiator. Yeah.
I don't think it's like yours. The one that you sent out here that was that, where it drops down from the ballon and then it's got its thing. I don't think that one's like that. I think it's more of an off-center fed. Actually, I'll pull it up here. Hold on.
That's what I found with that percentages that I was talking about earlier. Yeah, that's just your standard.
That's an off-center fed dipole.
Off-center fed dipole. So that should be a current balance. So there should be no RF coming down your coax. If there is, then it's I break it up with another choke or a 1-to-1 current balance to keep the RF outside, or that RF will just come right back into the shack. And that's when I was messing around with off-center feds. I messed with the 32.6. I was messing with various percentages on. I did a 34 on the short, a 36 on the short, and I found that it changed everything as far as where it landed in like 20 meters and 15, 10, and 40. But in the process out of it, I ended up with tuning and trimming. So when you tune the antenna, you're basically tuning it for 80 meters. And the lowest I could get was about 2.5 to 1, which in turn gave me some really decent return losses at 20, 40, 15, 17, 30 was out. I think 17 kind of came in a little bit, but it hit the bands pretty well. And so the end result, I ended up going, okay, I'm going to have only 2.5 to 1 at the best for 80. All the other bands kind of dropped right on in. That was well below 2 to 1 on all the bands. I didn't really look exactly where was it on the long side, the short side. I kind of just threw it out and said, all right, that will work. The most modern radios, the newer radio, like 7300s, the 891s, the FT 450s, the Kenwoods, pretty much if it's a newer radio, they, for the most part, have a built-in tuner, and most built-in tuners will handle 3 to 1. So I just chalked it off, and it's like, okay, this is a compromise antenna, and this is where we make those compromises. It's like, where are we going to go, and then go from there. The last one I messed with, I did an 80-20, and that seemed to help a little better on the 80. But I once all the snow melts, I'm going to throw it back up. And but to do a full size 80, I only have 100 feet separation between two of my towers, and that's my test bed. So I'll drop the ends and kind of have it vertical, and that's the test I was doing. Hoist it up to 40 feet and make the test. But yeah, we'll do some more of that testing, and let's play with coming up with different percentages. And I'll need to go ahead and maybe do a little video we can present here and show where we land on the bands. So it's going to be one of those, you're going to have to kind of tune it and to play with it to get it to where you want to operate, and then just kind of like hopefully whatever other band doesn't line up from your primary operating band, then hopefully a tuner will kind of help bring you in. So
That's tricky. Steve,
it's a
which
tough
side
one.
should you go to? And maybe I missed this. Is there a
As far as
side
what?
you should go to on the long side? Bring that in? Or, in terms of, say, tuning an off-center fed?
Oh, you got to tune both ends. So
Both
you
ends
got
are the
to,
same. Okay.
yeah. So you have to kind of figure out, okay, if I'm going to take a foot off on the long side, you're going to have to take a percentage of that on the short side. It won't be a foot on the short side. It'll be, a percentage of that. So usually at least half, and just kind of, it's a lot of going back and forth until you kind of get it dialed in.
All right, good deal. Let's go over to Scotty, see what he's seeing over in the chat. What's going on, Scotty? Anybody having issues? What's happening over there?
Yeah, I got a couple questions, and a lot of folks enjoying the conversation on the off-center fed dipole. The KADRT has got a question. Since he says he's seen several portable ops using a doublet without the ladder line, just 2 wires or speaker wire for the vertical portion. Would the lack of proper spacing cause it to not perform as expected? I'm assuming the lack of spacing in the ladder line, I suppose.
I mean, it will act like ladder line. I don't know what impedance it will be. I mean, if we're going to go in technical, but you know what? Try it, see what happens.
And don't forget,
I have some speculation on what would happen.
JB.
Let me put it this way. I wouldn't run it at 1500 watts, but maybe you might be able to get away with 100 watts with using speaker wire as your transmission line, because speaker wire is basically like ladder line. It's 2 parallel wires, and it's going to act like a transmission media. It's just when you're going to start getting some high voltages due to SWR and this and that, you might have an arc over. But hey, who knows? Hey, that's be a good.
We got Brent N4 BDW also has a question, wondering on what type of tuner are folks using. A small MSJ manual tuner, he says, will tune much better than an auto tuner in the radio will.
It will probably tune a higher range, So most, like I was mentioning, most built-in tuners in a radio, the range is going to be like 3 to 1. A lot of external and tuners might go to 5 or 6, and even as high as 10 to 1 mismatch. And it all comes down to the components that are in the tuner, the capacitors, the inductors, and where the manufacturers are putting this device inside of a radio, which they're trying to keep as compact as possible. So an external tuner always is a wider range tuner versus the tuner that's built into your radio.
I see
Get
Solo
those relays clicking.
I was clicking in there. I see Patrick in there, and he's getting the storm. He should be coming in here and joining us. I put the key under the mat. I put the key in there. Where are you at, Patrick? Producer Patrick. He does a lot of work and helps out in a lot of different ways. But cool. If you have a question, put Q in front of it or use the form, and we'll get to those as we go. And thanks to Scotty for hanging out on a snow day to help with some of the questions as they come in whatever form. One of the frustrations coming off the forum, David, he's November 4 Delta Papa Hotel. He's struggling with the lack of Elmers nearby or virtual. His local club is big on VHF, but he's struggling with switching from a Yaesu 857D to an ICOM 7100 and can't find the answers on YouTube. Don't even get me started on the YouTubes. We don't even want to do it. An Elmer might be able to steer me in the right direction. So a little more information on that. Those 2 radios, I think I owned both of those. That's the radio that got away. That Yaesu fit right in your pocket, man. You could put it like a little bag on or something. It would be right there. And I wanted an amp so badly that I was like, man, and I knew somebody that would buy it. And I'm like, okay, because I just didn't need it. And it did everything. That radio did everything. The 857D, 160, you name it. It was this big, and I let it go. but I also have the 7100. Now, the bigger issue there is the lack of Elmers. Man, we could do a whole show on Elmers. We probably should.
A huge problem in this hobby is the lack of Elmers, and the frustrating part that I see is older hams, or more seasoned hams, let's put it that way, that have been in the hobby long enough bitch about it, that, we don't have enough Helmers. It's like, okay, be part of the solution. You're part of the problem
step
right
up
now.
And help some folks out.
Step up and let's solve the problem. And but no, it's easier to sit back and, bitch and moan.
It usually is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And we may have problems with asking people too. A good side effect of asking a lot of questions was this community, actually, because I did feel in the early days I was leaning on two guys in particular a little too much. Ultimately, Steve got it all, and what a back he's got, because I was the biggest pain in the ass. I know it. I know it, because you're, hey, I know how to text now. Let me send him 1,000 texts. And but
we burned up text time. Yes, we did. Thank God it's free.
I consider, if people can find us, and I consider us just. It's interesting because the show and the podcast have changed so much in terms of the early days. I was the seeker. I was looking for these answers, and it was a documentary type style journey through my trials and errors and successes. And that's still ongoing, but running parallel now is that since 2015, I've learned a couple of things, and it's because I've got guys like Steve and a community of people here that we can kind of talk to each other in, and it helps. And these guys aren't douchebags, and they're like, ugh. In the early days, there was like, and it's the same old song and dance. There's a lot of people that are like, that was on your test. What are you doing asking a question about that? We all know it's...
Christian, you have an extra. You should know that.
You should know that.
The types of... Yeah, and that's bull crap.
This was the feeling... This is the feeling I had.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
And I was like, well,
Perfect.
Okay, well, then I'll start a community where people can ask questions. So now I feel a shift in the show, and I certainly don't know it all. And I got to have Steve, got to have all this community around us. But I've learned something. So it's changed. I'm able to actually give back and help people a little more now with the approach, the struggles, and that kind of thing. So I like to hear them if we can help. Oh, there's a question there, Scotty. What is that?
Go ahead. KX4TQ wants to know where did the term Elmer come from?
We finally figured this one out. We said it wrong one time, and then we got it right. Do we remember this?
Yes, it was the first Elmer. His name was Elmer, and I'll have to look it back up, but that's how it ended up coming about. It was one guy, one amateur was helping another amateur, and it turned out that he was, Elmer was mentoring Todd, or whatever. We'll just use Todd right now. And then Todd just basically said, hey, he's my Elmer. And it just kind of fell along there. But it's not that old. I thought it went way, way back into the, in the early days of Spark Gap and stuff like that. No, I think it was like in the 50s where the 52, I think, where the term came about. Don't quote me on the 52 part. But it just kind of stuck. And so it was, instead of saying mentor, it was Elmer. We hams kind of have to have our own little lingo and terminology, and somehow it went that way. And you don't hear it outside of this hobby. You don't hear, like, if you're into automotive, you don't say, hey, this guy's Elmering me and on how to reassemble a automatic transmission. It's he's mentoring me and stuff like that.
Fun fact now for you guys at home who are maybe new to the show and all this, but Sidecar Steve's dad's name was Elmer.
Yes.
I believe that's on the extra exam, isn't it?
My dad? Probably.
No,
Oh, it's new. It's on the new quiz.
The Elmer stuff. Oh, yeah, you're an extra. You should know that was on the
You
exam,
should
right?
know that. You should know
You
that.
should know that. You're an extra. That shit. Oh, sorry. That stuff just
Whoa,
drives me
Lord
nuts.
have mercy. We're all going to start cussing. It's okay. Nobody's listening.
Stupid son of a bitch.
Thank you, JB. But hey, if you have a question, put it in. I don't know if you guys dig this doing it. I enjoy it. I know people are snowed in. Still trying to get Patrick to connect because he's up there where it's really, he's really getting it
He's
up
getting
there near
hammered.
Boston. He's getting hammered. And I think it's probably baseball karma. I don't know for sure. Maybe it's the
Well,
Tom Brady
he's
years.
He's 5 fingers right now with the scotch.
Yeah, he's probably blasted. They don't have anywhere to go. Why would he?
A pint glass full.
All right, we'll send Scotty back over to monitor things going on in the chat. If you have a question, by all means, go ahead and do it. I can put the key under the mat if you'd like to come in and join us. Thanks to Todd. Want to thank a couple of new members. Paul Brown. We know Paul Brown as the voice. I have to write this down because he gave us money to the show. He's now a sustaining member. Continued. He's been supporting the show for a long time. He's a good long-term friend. Not just because he supports the show financially. It's just that he's been around. He's always supported us from Amateur Radio Newsline. So thank you to Paul. And also Dave Gooder has re-upped his membership. And if you're curious about how that happens, I can probably show it to you. Yeah, let me go over here, and I'll talk you through it to our friends listening at home. Let's go over here. So you want to do is go to the 100 Watts in a Wire webpage and our site and click on membership, and it gives you several options. You can join in any level that you like. Let's get back over there. Okay, great. And basically, I like this feature now called Buy Me a Coffee. This is so simple because people are stressed out. A lot of things going on. People still aren't working. We know what's going on in the world, and I don't feel comfortable ever coming and asking people for any money. It's just something I've never been comfortable with. But as I say, I thank you to those folks. You can do something as simple as buying a cup of coffee. There's no commitments. I left the Patreon for good or bad. There were people supporting us there. But I let them know that, this platform here is taking 12% of the money. And I thought, that's too much. That's just too much. We're not even talking about a lot of money. And they were definitely dipping into it. So anyway, I'm using the Buy Me a Coffee page. You go there, you can click and donate yearly. If the content, you get anything out of the content, you can do $3 a month. You can buy a cup of coffee. No big deal. You don't have to do anything. All this stuff here is free to you. I can say that the money that comes in, the contributions, the donations, the coffees, the sponsorship money, all goes back into the show for the development. It takes some things to do this, so it goes toward developing it, creating the content, distribution of the content. So if you get value out of it, there's something for you. But those two guys this week re-upped their membership, and because they did that yearly deal, they become sustaining members. Sustaining members get discounts from places like Bio Power, MFJ, NI4 antennas, NI4L antennas. You can see all that stuff on the website. And if it helps you, cool. It may pay for itself. Enough said. There you go. All right.
I got one other thing here. Brent, N4BDW, great comment. Thanks to newer technology, radios coming out so fast, the knowledge from traditional Elmers is really thinning down, and that is so true. That is a true statement. And like in my case, I have fallen behind in the digital modes. I am like lost. The other night, Rex put up a picture, and it was just a report of a WinLink message that went through. I was like, what the hell am I looking at here? And it was like, right. Rex, Uncle, what is this? And then he pointed out. So if you're good in the newer technologies, please step up and help us out along, because I haven't delved into it. I just haven't had the time and the interest to get more into the digital world. I should, but so I'll be one of your mentees.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to start the group, and I'll probably do it on Discord because it's very easy to organize on Discord, and we'll do a digital team. I know nothing about it, and I don't feel comfortable talking even about it. I know a little D-Star, not enough. But I think when these questions come in, we can actually deploy help and see if we can, do some help. I don't know, create some sort of support for that. Oh, I had Patrick. I saw you coming in, Patrick. Here he's coming in. Let's see if I can let's get him a sign. Now, Patrick's been with me. He's probably the oldest. He might be my oldest ham radio buddy. I got to tell you, I don't know. He's crazy as they come. Look at this. Look at his beard. Look at what's going on here with you. You see a snowstorm coming, and next thing you know, he's I think I'll grow a big beard.
It keeps the face warm.
Oh, right. I got you. You need some of these grays. Then they think you're smart. They think, oh yeah, look at all that gray hair. He must be sophisticated. Sadly,
What a stupid son of a bitch.
the president will keep you grounded. What's going on, man? You're the guy that's in the area. I think that's going to get this. Maybe not the worst. Maybe to the north of you, even still going to get a bunch. But what's going on?
Yeah. So basically, this is a coastal storm. So the Cape and Islands are getting absolutely hammered. Up to potentially 30 inches of snow and high winds. So I think I put the outage map in the Discord. Last I checked, it was approaching 120,000 outages, and that's from the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency. So definitely going to be some hurting. We haven't had a storm like this in about 3 years. And in many times, I've seen it at least twice. But when we get storms like this, the struggle is snow removal. You get these 6 to 8 foot high banks at intersections. It becomes a danger to see around the corners. I wouldn't doubt an activation of the National Guard just for snow removal. Let me. I'm going to flip around the camera here and actually stick the phone out the window.
Sure.
Because I'm not going to go out there again.
No, you're done making snow angels and things like that.
Were you having snowball fights with your neighbor? Wow, son of a.
There he went.
There you go. Oh, he's going to open the window. Holy moly. Oh, what a beautiful place. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Now, for our podcast listeners, I'll explain to you. It's a lot of effing snow, really. But there's some beautiful trees. I don't know if that's a red bud, maybe. Gorgeous. Some pines back there. And what part of Massachusetts are you in, Patrick?
So basically right on the corner of Massachusetts and Rhode Island. We're about 15 minutes from the border.
It's gorgeous there. He likes to travel. He has a travel channel called Solo Travel Adventures, and I'm catching up on his series where he takes the train across the country and goes to Chicago and all the way out to San Francisco. So if you guys are into that, you can ride along on the choo-choo train with Patrick. He's one of our own. Yeah, what did you learn about that, man? I kind of tapped into your brain a little bit because you were going from Boston to Chicago, and I was going from St. Louis to Chicago. And I'm like, let me see what's going on because I'm taking kids on the train and all this sort of stuff. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I forgot to mute. Sorry about that.
It's a super easy way to travel, and especially like older people or maybe people that may have some handicaps too. You're not dealing with security checkpoints like you would at the airport. It's a lot less stressful. And if you have the time to do it, I mean, getting across country is certainly not the fastest method, but you get to see a lot of stuff that you wouldn't otherwise. So you get to go through a lot of those national preserve areas and a lot of the mountain passes out west as you get out past Denver.
Are you going to go back to Disney? You're big on the Disney. You wish you were in Florida right now, don't you?
Yeah, my sister's stuck down there. So she gets
Orlando.
2 extra days in Disney with her family. They're actually their flights got changed by JetBlue because all the major airlines are pretty much refusing to fly into the area right now, just because of potential runway conditions. So, yeah, her and her family get to spend an extra 2 days at Disney.
Hey, there's a question for you in the
rough.
chat. Scotty, can you see that? Let's see if we can get Scotty to pick up that question from Ben. See that? KX4TQ? You're muted.
What we got here? He's asking, you take the ham radio with you?
I didn't at the time when I did the train trip, just because it was another item for me. You are pretty limited on what you can pack as far as space goes in the Romettes where I was. But certainly when I go up to Maine, we have a family place in Maine that I go to every year. I do try to bring the radio. I think I've actually talked to Christian when I'm up there before. But we have a place in central Maine. If you basically divide the state into 4 parts, we are dead in the middle. It's about a 4-hour drive from the Boston area.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, Patrick's been a good friend for a long time. And back when I was doing Ham Nation stuff, he was either the first or the second. Back then, you were a kid, man. Back then, you were a real young guy, and he was serving communications through the Boston Marathon. So we go way back. What year was that, man? I know you know numbers and retain all that stuff.
So
15?
I started with the Boston Marathon in 2014, so the year after the bombing. But so it was probably shortly thereafter the marathon that I think you had me on. So probably fall 2014, I want to say, because I actually filmed it. We actually filmed it when I was working for the School of Computer Science at school. We actually did the call from the computer lab.
When beards were just a dream to him, Steve. He was dreaming of big beards like that. Man, that's like 9 years ago. 9 years ago. Mm-hmm. He does a lot of help behind the scenes. But thanks for checking in. I hope everybody's okay where you are. I thought about maybe streaming later on because trying to follow the pattern of the storm a little bit. But there's a lot of information already being put out there. But I was hearing Boston was getting it harder than most at the moment. But yeah. I guess north of you is going to be pretty rough still.
Yeah, it's more east. That they'll get hammered, but we're in the 18 to 24 band, so we could get 2 feet. It's the difficulty. I actually tried to measure it a little bit, but it's there's so much snow drift. You're really not getting an accurate number. But we'll see.
How's the antennas holding up?
I haven't looked out that window yet.
Uh-oh, here we go, an exclusive. See how this
antenna watch 2022.
I'll answer a quick question.
It's still up there.
Good. Mark had a question, says, I'm a sustaining member. Will I be notified once my year is up? I usually will go at the beginning of the month and just go through the list and send a gentle reminder that it expires this month. I try to do that. But thank you, Mark. He is also a subscriber and a member, sustaining member. Cool. All right. I don't know if David, Scotty, was that question for us? The David Kilo 0 November Oscar Charlie, he got an antenna. I can't.
He's asking. I think it's just a general question for the chat, but okay. He's asking about height above ground, if his deck counts as would be the ground level, or I'm going to say that the
I see.
Yeah, so he's asking 8 feet off the ground. Does that count as off the ground or off the surface of his deck? So off the ground.
Ground. Yeah, it'll be off the ground. But
Ground.
ground all the way around.
Well, thank you, Patrick. I won't keep you from your waffles or whatever cool thing you're doing. Are you editing video? What are you up to? You're always up to
We'll probably
something.
do an edit today. We've got one more video for the series coming out. It's our second part in San Francisco. But lots of cable car footage
Cool.
from San Francisco. So
I watched the video where you did the changeover. There was a change how they disconnected the trains and reconnected one. You know what I'm talking about? Where
in Albany.
Where they sort of disconnected. Go ahead, talk about that one.
The Lakeshore Limited, there's two branches to it for Amtrak. One comes out of Boston, one comes out of New York City. They meet in Albany, and they split the train and back them together and hook them up and go west.
Oh, wow.
That's fun. He was right there with it. It's real cool. Check him out. He's at Solo Travel Adventures all together, and subscribe to him if you dig it. He's taking you on adventures around, and he's got some good videos to choose from. And he's been a good friend of mine for many years now. Time does slip away. I can't believe it. He was a college guy. Now he's like, I don't know, CEO of Facebook or Meta, whatever they call it. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing. But
he's just about to go over to San Francisco and kick Zuckerberg's butt.
Cause him. He went there.
I've been to Facebook.
Yeah, that'd be a cool video. Let's go there.
That video's on there.
Oh, really? Oh, you did? Okay, see, I need to dig back in.
Next time you go there, you need to go to the Apple spaceship. Run over to there.
I actually visited the old Apple headquarters at Infinite Loop Drive back in, I want to say it was 2010. But they have like a store there you can visit and stuff.
Nice.
Gotcha. All right, brother, take care of yourself. Keep us, you can hear from Patrick and everything going on in the Discord channel. Appreciate you, brother. We'll catch up again soon, okay?
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. 7-3. All right, man. There's Patrick.
All
right. I think we've kept you long enough. I feel like we could stream all day. We could do one of those things, but the guy's bladder, we'd have to eat, and then we'd have to go to the bathroom more, and that's too much information. That's a different show that we really haven't got off the ground yet. Thanks to Scotty, who is joining us today, and we're hanging out. He's in Maryland from my
it's been a blast. Been a blast.
State. And if you guys have any ideas, it's fun. Appreciate the questions that came in today, and Scotty was able to help us sift through some of that stuff. And you want more streams? We can do it. It's good, especially in the wintertime where we're all just sort of hanging out. It's good. But 9 o'clock on Saturday mornings, it's a good time for our community to get together. If you're struggling with anything, share your successes too. We want to hear about what's working for you, just as well as I got some problems. I can't figure this out. Everything's welcome. Everybody's welcome. All topics welcome. I don't think we had any celebrity deaths this week to talk about, did we? We got... That's good. We made it through the week without losing one of the good ones.
That's a small win. We'll take small wins.
We'll mention Betty White just because she should be mentioned. And that. Thanks, everybody, for coming by. Appreciate you. All right, Scotty, it's time for you to dig out. You need to dig out, man.
Yep, I need to head to Frederick to my brother's to get ready for Winter Field Day. So.
Yeah, that's cool. When's it start? 1 o'clock Eastern or 2?
2, I think.
2 o'clock. All right, cool. Well, keep us posted. We'll look for you in the Discord channel and see how you made out.
Yeah, cool. I'll have the Discord up and be hanging out in the tent, eating some pizza, and running some stations.
That sounds perfect. We'll all be doing the same, but here we'll just be eating pizza. All right, brother.
Try to get into it a little bit. So,
all right, man.
It's kind of a family thing that with my family. We both field days, winter and summer field day. It's kind of turned into a family event. Cool. Go to my brother's.
Oh, perfect.
We throw up some wires. And then I'll let my brother operate some stations as the control, and my mom will come out. She lives at my brother's house as well, and she'll even wander out, and I'll throw her on the air to make a couple contacts too. So we always look forward to it every year. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Have fun out there.
That's great.
Best to throw her on the air, not in the air. Last year was a problem. That was a problem when misunderstanding.
Too many fingers.
Yeah, too many fingers. You got to start with one, maybe go to two. All right, buddy. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Cool. See you guys.
All right, cool. All right, Steve, I think we got them all for this one. We'll have a little lunch and see what's going on, hop on the air, and if anything moves us, maybe we'll gather here again this weekend because I'm so curious about the snow and how it, it affects the people and how they prepare for it and all that sort of stuff.
Might have to do a follow-up maybe tomorrow after the storm passes, see how everybody's holding up.
Yeah, we can do that. Also, our net is on Sundays, so check out our net on Sundays. It'll be Uncle Paul will be running tomorrow night. Steve takes over at the top of the hour, but we get a full hour of Uncle Paul, and then Sidecar Steve takes over. I'm thinking he's going to be traveling for a few weeks. Maybe I'll have to take that first shift, and we'll just...
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Or bring you in with me. We'll tag team. We always have fun. And one thing I was thinking about and forgot to mention now that we're saying goodbye but I remember the year we did a lightning net.
Oh, geez, yeah.
And it was just like, blah, blah, blah. It was me, you, and Katie.
Bam, 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 bam.
Blah, 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 and we just passed it around, and we were just checking them in. And I think we worked 100.
I think we did 153 or something like that. It was huge, but it was truly contest style. It was high, you're 5'9", next, high, you're 5'9", next, high, you're 5. It was brutal.
We haven't brought it back since, but it wasn't because we're anti contest. It's that our net is totally laid back. We're so laid back, and we chat everybody up, and we don't believe in just saying whatever.
Hi, bye.
But sometimes we would. It would be fun maybe to test how many we could kind of snap off and maybe move it across the country somehow. But that popped into my head recently. I thought it might be a kind of a fun thing to do. Maybe it's not our net at all. Maybe we just get on the air and I don't know.
Just do it.
Just do it. All right, brothers. Be good. Thank you, Steve, for getting up early and spending your time with us and giving us your knowledge of this great hobby. We appreciate you and all that you do. You're everybody.
Thank you.
Elmer. Cal Ripken, Scotty, and Patrick.
You, Scotty.
Todd for stopping in today and telling us about his situation. Yeah. Who else?
And Paul and Todd and Pastor Joe stopping in and stopping by and taking time out of their day to join us. And everybody else that's been in the chat, thank you for joining us today.
Yep. We appreciate your time. We'll catch you next Saturday. The audio will be sent to the podcast side. So if you missed it or came in late, you missed a really good one. It was a really good one. We had the president stop by.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
Oh. I got some good mileage out of that one today. We'll have to keep that in our pocket. All right, guys.
That one's going to last for a while.
Take care of yourselves. Remember, radio is life. It's my new thing. I can't wait to get my new sweatshirt out of the shop. It hasn't been sent for repairs. Actually, I had to purchase it, and it's on its way to me, but I'm excited to have that new design in the store for 100 watts and wire. I'm getting a new mug, too. This one will keep things hot for 12 hours, but I'm going to get a new 100 watts and wire mug kind of sent to me in that order, too. So that's on another way you can help the show if you're interested. Yeah, the old school logo. Steve goes way back. That's old school logo right there. The original. Team replay for the win, says Todd. KY4, TG, everybody thinking about Winter Field Day. Go give some points out for those who can get out there and do it. Our friends in the Northeast, be careful out there. Don't shovel all that snow at once. Make the French toast. Make a little love.
Everyone in the
get
Northeast,
down the
take
night.
Care of yourselves. So.
Yeah. We'll be watching for you. Maybe we'll come back tomorrow and check in, see what's going on. 7-3, take care of yourselves. And by all means, if you can, please try and stay above the noise. 73, Steve.
7-3, Christian.
To join the 100 Watts in a Wire community, visit 100wattsinawire.com.